when you look at the macro framework, you look at the longer term charts, you just say, well, I might as well turn my computer off and stop fucking around on X, looking at some traders saying the top is in. It's highly unlikely to be in. Highly unlikely, because the macro's nowhere in. And I don't get it. I don't get all these people talking about it's the end of the business cycle. It's moronic to say that. It's the beginning of the business cycle, not the end. It cannot be the end of the crypto cycle if it is the beginning of the business cycle. It's as simple as that. 2024, we said, okay, we're now about to start the banana zone. Why? Because we're starting to break the new all-time highs. And what happens? The first leg up goes from 52,000 to 108,000. And you lot go, oh, okay, bananas. Phase 2 of the banana zone, we're still in it. We've barely started it. Remember, for God's sake, we don't know whether this happens or not. It's probabilistically what we think plays out. But let's say it goes up 3x in 2 months. That's when you take some lifestyle chips off in case we fuck this up. Right now, you should be buying calls because volatility is very cheap.
In today's video, Raoul Pal lays out his latest macro roadmap from Bitcoin's explosive seasonality to what he calls the banana zone of this crypto cycle. He explains why we're at the beginning of the business cycle, not the end, and how liquidity, volatility, and timing could fuel one of the biggest asymmetric trades of the decade. Raoul dives into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana's setups, why volatility is still cheap, and how smart money is quietly positioning before the next big leg up. Join our Telegram for daily macro insights, links in the description. Let's catch Raoul up to know more.
When banana, where banana, blah, 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 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Okay, this is how it works, kids. The banana zone. So we told you, we put out all of our signals based on liquidity back in 2022 and said the low is in. We really got that right. We bought Solana. Solana absolutely crushed it. And then we switched later. And then back in 2024, we said, okay, we're now about to start the banana zone. Why? Because we're starting to break the new all-time highs. And this is Bitcoin. So we actually gave out the signal on liquidity in that week, the 5th of August week. I was in Zambia, came back. We said, yeah, banana zone is about to start. And by September, we said, this is it. And what happens? The first leg up goes from 52,000 to 108,000. And you lot go, oh, okay, bananas. And then we said, look, there's a phase 1 correction. Remember, global M2 was correcting. Oh, it comes back down. That's the phase 1 correction of the banana zone. Phase 2 of the banana zone, we're still in it. We've barely started it. The phase 2 correction should come from much higher. Pulls back and then goes higher. This is not the phase 2 correction. This is still part of the banana zone. So there we are. It's just like the banana zone doesn't look obvious. We had all this shit here too. But when you look back on that chart, it's like, oh yeah, it's a banana. And you go back here. Oh, it's a banana. But you fuckers would have been going, see, it's all over. You've never called the banana zone. You've got it all wrong. It's stupid. All of this time, all the way up, you'll have done the same thing. But when you go back and look, they're bananas. Now, this banana is going to be longer in time. So therefore, less spiky in price at this point. Maybe that'll come later.
Raoul's banana zone perfectly sums up the explosive, liquidity-fueled phase of a crypto bull run where conviction meets chaos. He's showing how macro liquidity drives that parabolic leg higher, but this time expects a longer, steadier rally led by institutions, not wild retail mania. In short, the real banana zone hasn't even started yet.
This chart, and say, I think this is more likely, where it peaks into January. And we've got many, many other charts that suggest it's like Jan, even Feb, where it peaks and then trades sideways into April or so and then goes higher again. So that's what we're looking at. Now, remember, for God's sake, we don't know whether this happens or not, or any other fucking variation. It's probabilistically what we think plays out. So if you do get a big, nice leg where Bitcoin seasonality here, now these are including old cycles, so it's exaggerated in price terms, but let's say it goes from 300 to 900, goes up 3x in 2 months. Let's halve that, goes up 1.5x or 1x. That's when you take some lifestyle chips off in case we fuck this up. That's the bit where you're like, I don't really care if I've got it wrong. Or you buy some short-term puts because remember, volatility is super low. Right now, you should be buying calls because volatility is very cheap. IBIT calls. You should all own IBIT calls. That trade recommendation's been in Rovision Pro and GMI for a while. Will work out really well because we know this, the seasonality. We know why it's underperforming. We know that the Bollinger Bands are compressed. Therefore, volatility is cheap. Volatility will get more expensive as the market drives higher, and you'll get the double kicker, and you can make some real money out of that. Let's start with Bitcoin. Broadening pattern. These tend to be continuation patterns. I know you get them occasionally as reversal patterns. I think this is a continuation pattern. And what happens is somewhere around here, we might sell off further because the government's not reopened. When it reopens, the government starts spending, writing checks quickly. They've got backlog of pay, inject massive amounts of liquidity, goes into the banking system, number go up, right? We need that to happen. And I think the shit fight will continue. This is the second longest government shutdown in history. We may end up being the longest, let's see. But when it comes, number reverse. So that's Bitcoin, nothing really to see. Ethereum. I mean, what a cutie of a chart. One of the world's great charts. Here we are, retesting the breakout of the wedge, one of the world's greatest wedges. You know, we saw these kind of things here. It breaks out, it does this. Remember when it broke out here? Did this, and then eventually did that. That move was 310. I mean, it's like a 10x. So what's it going to be from here? Who knows?
Raoul's breaking down the cyclical rhythm of crypto markets with precision, identifying how Bitcoin and Ethereum follow repeatable patterns tied to liquidity and macro timing. His projection into early 2025 reflects a data-backed view. We're likely entering another major expansion phase, not the end of one. When he highlights Ethereum's wedge setup and past 10x moves, he's signaling that structural breakouts, not hype, are driving this cycle. In short, Raoul's reading the charts through a macro lens, and the signals are flashing bullish.
So that's ETH daily. Again, often Bitcoin, these things wick. Could it come back down here? Could this be a little mini wedge? Could it come down? Yeah, probably. Does it come down to here? Possibly. Don't really care. And you shouldn't either. If you do, you're doing something wrong. You're either using leverage or you are too short-term in your time horizon. Solana. Oh my God, look at that. Let's go back to ETH. So this Solana chart is this period in ETH. Sort of, because the pandemic kind of screwed it up a bit, but let's call it this period in ETH is what we're seeing in Solana now. So it kind of did the wedge pattern. Again, depending how you draw it, nothing's ever perfect. If this is a flat top wedge pattern, and somewhere around here, it finds its base, hooks up, and then it will have the power to break through, and we can have a serious move, the move we've been expecting. That's still to come. That's how the second cycle plays out. Then you consolidate again. And that seems to be, you know, if we go back to Bitcoin, let me change that to the monthly chart. When we go to Bitcoin monthly chart, sorry, just excuse me for a moment while I fuck around with this. Oh, I need to change it to not Coinbase. Let's go to, okay, so, you know, if we look at kind of the second cycle, it did this, I had the correction. They all do the same kind of pattern as you get the adoption. The first move is brutally large, then a decent sized pullback, and that was a huge pullback. Doesn't look like it in the chart, but guess what? Let me change this from a log chart just so you can just see how brutal it was to own Bitcoin back in the early days. It was that brutal. It was so brutal that you have this massive run, enormous, gigantic pullback, and then a stupid run, gigantic pullback, stupid run, gigantic pullback, stupid run, right? You get the picture. Okay, so that's Solana. Nothing exciting to see. SUI. Oh, look at that chart. This is a first cycle token. Tends to be good in the first cycle, and because it's all full of promises and a lower free float, and capital can drive these higher. Nothing wrong going on here. We're just basically in a wedge. So do we come back down to the wedge? Well, let's have a look at the daily chart. Daily chart would suggest, let me just make sure it's log. Ugh. I hate it when I screw up everything, but you're used to me by now screwing up everything. So could we come further back? Could we come further back down in here? Yeah. Could we even test $2 again? Yeah. Does it change anything? No. What should we be doing? Buying. And not going, oh my God, it's going to die. Raoul said SUI's going to go up and he's a moron. And it's just like, it's terrible. And I've got everything wrong. And it's the worst thing. Nothing. When you look at the macro framework, you look at the longer term charts, you just say, well, I might as well turn my computer off and stop fucking around on X, looking at some traders saying the top is in. It's highly unlikely to be in. Highly unlikely, because the macro's nowhere in. And I don't get it. I don't get all these people talking about it's the end of the business cycle. It's moronic to say that. It's the beginning of the business cycle, not the end. It cannot be the end of the crypto cycle if it is the beginning of the business cycle. It's as simple as that. But no, people just want to use a chart and suggest that no macro matters. They want to use whatever it is that it do. We try and put as much together to get probabilistically right. Will we be right in everything? Hell no. When I look at some of these as well, this is I know it's SUI hourly. I love this chart. This is SUI ETH. We used this when we really went overweight SUI back in 2024. And we've got a very similar pattern here. What we'll see is a pull down here somewhere, and then we should break this trend, and then we come back up here and we should get a dramatic outperformance. This is SUI Solana. We got in really overweight SUI here, still been outperforming Solana, and since that date, and so it's been the right position to hold. And then we've been pulling back to the bottom of this pattern. And what we should see is over time, we'll stabilize somewhere around here, whether we break back down through here and then come up. And then we should, if we're right, break through in 2026 all the way through here. So we're still pretty happy about all of this stuff.
Raoul's analysis here shows his veteran macro mindset, calm, data-driven, and unfazed by short-term pullbacks. He's emphasizing structure over noise. These corrections are just setups within larger continuation patterns. His comparisons between Ethereum, Solana, reveal that he's tracking crypto as an evolving asset class, not isolated tokens. The takeaway? Volatility is opportunity, not danger, when the macro and technicals align for another leg higher. Raoul's message is clear: the macro cycle is turning, liquidity is rising, and crypto's next explosive phase is only beginning. From Bitcoin's seasonality to Ethereum's breakout and Solana's setup, he's mapping a market still early in its expansion. The key takeaway? Stay patient, think macro, and don't get shaken by volatility. The real banana zone is still ahead. If you found this breakdown valuable, drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more expert crypto and macro insight. See you in the next one.